Understanding deixis in pragmatics and its types. Deixis is a concept in pragmatics that is concerned with the use of words in a text, whose meanings are only recoverable from the text in which they appear or the context of an exchange, conversation. It focuses on how certain words can be used to indicate or point at persons, places, or time without conveying the meaning of those concepts themselves. Think of them as directional arrows. For instance, when you go to an event for the first time, and the hall is so big you could easily get lost, you would occasionally come across signs with arrows that point you in different directions. For example, male restroom by your left, use lift to get to central hall, etc. These signs are not the locations themselves, rather they point at where those locations are. Likewise, deixis, as a pragmatic concept, shows how words can serve as directional arrows, indicating concepts without expressing their meanings. A good example of this is, John saw a log blocking the road, so he picked it up and threw it away. She didn't see him coming. Martha had little time to escape the overjoyed relative. In example A, both he and it are indexicals, or deictic references. Indexicals or deictic references are words that refer to other words in a text. He refers to John, while it refers to a log. If we take away John and a log from example A, it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to ascertain what he and it refer to in the text, especially since we have no background knowledge of the context in which their activity took place. Also, she and him are indexicals, she referring to Martha, and him referring to the overjoyed relative. Just like in example A, it would be difficult to determine what she and him refer to in the text if Martha and the overjoyed relative were to be absent from it. It is, as I said earlier, deictic references are like directional arrows that point to concepts. Now, if the element that a directional arrow points to does not exist, how can you make meaning of what it points to? It becomes useless. Likewise, the pronouns she and it would have no relevance to the receiver of the text if Martha and the overjoyed relative were absent from the text, unless the receiver can deduce their reference from the context of the conversation or from a shared background knowledge. Example A has its referent, the concept being referred to by indexicals, coming before its reference, indexicals. This type of reference is called an anaphoric reference. It is a situation whereby the word or concept that is being referred to by an indexical appears before the indexical in a text. Both John and a log appear before he and it in example A. Reverse is the case in example B, as she and him appear before Martha and the overjoyed relative. This type of reference is called cataphoric reference, because the indexicals refer to words or concepts that appears after them in the text. It is important to note that the concepts indexicals point to can only be understood by the receiver from the context of an exchange or discourse, when they are absent from the text itself. Take for example, Adam, did you watch the latest episode of Demon Slayer yesterday? Sure, of course, it was so amazing. From the exchange above, Shura's use of it can be understood to be an indexical of the latest episode of Demon Slayer, if we consider the context of the exchange. But when we take it away from the exchange, it becomes problematic because without context, we cannot say for sure what exactly Shura meant by it, or why she thinks it was so amazing. Now there are three types of deixis, namely, person deixis, place deixis, time deixis, person deixis. Person deixis refers to the use of personal pronouns, first person, second person and third person pronouns to refer to persons in a text. For example, John works hard, he knows he has to. Mary sought refuge in her father's house. He, in example, A, is a third-person singular pronoun that points to the noun, John, while in example, B, her, is a third-person pronoun that points to the noun, Mary. So in simpler terms, person deixis are deictic references or indexicals that point to people and they are represented by personal pronouns. Place deixis. Place deixis refers to indexicals that point to different location using words that indicate locations, for example, here, there, up, down, between, beneath, beside, at, etc. For instance, the book is between the sofas. That's where I keep my glasses. Did you check under the rug? Can you sleep here? Between, that and where, here and under in the examples above are all indexicals of place, serving as directional arrows that point to different locations. The locations they point to can only be determined from THR context of the exchange in which they are used. For example, Mark, did you check over here? Emeka, my ball can't be in the cooler. The second exchange gives us background knowledge of where, over here, points to and that is, in the cooler. Time deixis. Time deixis refers to indexical elements that point to different temporal elements or elements of time. For example, now, today, yesterday, then, before, after, immediately, later, etc. For instance, when does the party start? She will go home today. The exam will commence tomorrow. Yeah, he used to work for them before. When, today, tomorrow, and before, are all indexicals of time and they point to different timelines that can only be recovered from the exchanges they were detached from. For example, Adam Zumba worked for Chrysler when the company just started. Kira, yeah, he used to work for them before. Before is a time indexical that refers to the point in time when Zumba worked for the company and that was when the company just started. So deixis covers all aspects of conversations that involve the use of words that serve as directional arrows pointing to persons/objects, place and time. See you soon.